right here that's involving Breonna Stewart and a referee and Sophie Cunningham. Now, this was very, very interesting to me that this play went unnoticed. Now, in this play, mind you, this isn't footage that was captured by the game. This was taken by a fan in the stands. Now, watch this play.
Watch that elbow. No, seriously, watch it again. That's not a basketball play. That's Breonna Stewart, the face of the New York Liberty, deliberately driving her elbow into Sophie Cunningham's face during what's supposed to be a routine screen. And here's what makes this whole situation even more disturbing. This footage didn't come from the official broadcast. A fan in the stands captured this because the cameras somehow missed it. Or maybe they didn't want us to see it.
Play there. That was a dirty play. Now, it looked like the referee actually might caught this. It says, we need to protect our enforcer Sophie Cunningham at all costs. This cheap elbow shot by 30 on the New York Liberty team, Breonna Stewart, is not acceptable. Where were the referees? And it looked like the referee did catch this, man. Then it said another slow-mo of the cheap shot by Breonna Stewart. Thank you. So this is the full play here. So this is a slow motion version of it. So as you guys can see here, just look at this. Boom, bro.
Now we're seeing it in slow motion, and the details matter here. Watch Stewart's positioning. Both feet are clearly outside the restricted arc when she sets this screen. Her left foot isn't even planted. She's moving forward, driving towards Sophie, not setting a legal screen. Contact happens well outside the arc. The referee actually caught this one and called an illegal screen. But here's the question nobody's asking. Why wasn't this a flagrant foul? Because what we just watched wasn't a basketball play gone wrong. That was intentional contact to the head and neck area. In any other context with any other player, that's an automatic flagrant one, possibly a flagrant 2 with an ejection.
Clearly out to hurt Sophie. That's Breonna Stewart. Did Sophie do the same thing in this game? Now, where would you referee? The ref called an illegal screen. What more do you want? I think people wanted that to be like a flagrant foul. So the referee did call it. Somebody said moving screens are not called too frequently in the modern day game. This referee called this. The physical nature of the screen is irrefutable. The screen is the only equalizer for the defender. A team has to call out the screen and protect the defender. This is just...
Look at Stewart's reaction immediately after the contact. Hands go up like she's innocent, like she didn't just drive her elbow into another player's face. That's the tell right there. Players who accidentally commit hard fouls show concern, they check on the other player. Stewart's immediate response is defensive posturing, playing to the refs before they can make the call. Now contrast this with how the league has handled similar incidents this season. When Chennedy Carter made body contact with Caitlin Clark back in June, the league upgraded it to a flagrant foul after review. That was a shoulder-to-body hit. What we just watched was elbow-to-face contact, and it got downgraded to a simple illegal screen call.
Bad team defense calling out the screen. No, bro. She assaulted Sophie Cunningham. Crazy. To paraphrase an old joke, I went to a WNBA game and a hockey game broke out. Seriously, there needs to be more ejections, suspensions, big fines for the offending players' team to stop these assaults. Gotta agree with you, man. At this point, they're making it their business to assault the Indiana Fever players. Somebody said at Breonna Stewart played for Gino Arianum and UConn. UConn won 12 national. I don't know. This is what the WNBA...
The fan who posted this footage is absolutely right about one thing. Fever fans won't let anything go unnoticed, and they shouldn't have to do the league's job. This is preseason, which means the WNBA has an opportunity right now to set the tone for how physical play will be officiated when games actually matter. Instead, we're seeing the same pattern that plagued the regular season, inconsistent enforcement that seems to depend more on who's committing the foul than what actually happened. Stewart is the president of the Players Association. She's negotiating the next CBA. She's supposed to be a leader in this league, and here she is throwing elbows at players' faces in a meaningless preseason game.
Well, this is what makes the WNBA unwatchable. No one's want to watch these girls get beat and injured. I don't know if the viewership came out for the game yet, but shout out to them for sharing this. I think it was JJ. I don't know if they have a YouTube channel, but what's this here? Oh, that's old footage there. Kind of got to be careful going on these people's X account, man. You never know what you might see. Yeah, look at this. Are you okay, Sophie? This New York Liberty player, Breonna Stewart, should be expelled and fined immediately. We need to protect Sophie.
But it gets worse, because this wasn't an isolated incident in this game. Earlier in the same matchup, we saw repeated hacking and grabbing on Caitlin Clark that went uncalled. Then when Sophie Cunningham set a screen later in the game, a Liberty player flopped like she'd been hit by a truck, threw her arms up, sold the contact, and actually got the call. Watch that sequence again. The Liberty player initiates contact with Sophie's screen, then immediately flops backward with her hands in the air. Compare that to Sophie's reaction when Stewart elbowed her in the face. Sophie didn't flop, she didn't sell it. She immediately turned to confront Stewart because she knew exactly what had just happened. That's the difference between a basketball play and an assault disguised as a screen.
Now, this is the play they talking about right here. So this was Sophie here. But watch how this girl is hacking Caitlin Clark. Watch this. Caitlin Clark is getting hacked. Watch. Watch. Look at her. Hacking Caitlin Clark all over. Now watch Sophie. Boom. Now, when Sophie did it, Sophie didn't look like she leaned into her, bro. Let me see. Nope. I don't think she did. I don't think. Oh, and old girl flopped. Look at this damn flop. She threw her arms up and everything. Now, if we go back and look at what happened to Sophie, like people want to say Sophie did the same thing. Look at Sophie. Sophie ain't flopped. She immediately, Breonna Stewart, a big gal. Look, she ain't throw her hands up. See, there's a big difference.
Here's what the league doesn't seem to understand. Fans aren't stupid. When you have footage of Caitlin Clark getting hacked repeatedly with no calls, then Sophie Cunningham getting elbowed in the face with just an illegal screen whistle, then a Liberty player getting a foul call off a blatant flop, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The Fever left New York with a dominant victory. They beat the Liberty so badly that the final score was embarrassing for the defending champions. But the story shouldn't be about fans having to scour social media for footage that exposes dangerous plays the broadcast missed. The story should be about the league protecting its players equally, regardless of market size or star power. Stewart plays in New York. She's a multiple-time champion, she's got the profile and the platform, and maybe that's why she felt comfortable throwing that elbow. Maybe that's why the officials downgraded what should have been a flagrant to a simple illegal screen.
See, there's a big difference. Watch this one here. Look, she flopped. That was a half-second damn delay on the flop. Half-second delay. But this is what we're dealing with here. You know, and it's very distasteful, but it's the nature of the game. And hopefully we don't see a lot of that this season. But I want to know y'all thoughts in the comment section right now. Make sure y'all keep them bells on.
The comment section on this footage tells you everything you need to know about how fans are processing this. They're calling for ejections, suspensions, significant fines. They're pointing out that if this kind of contact happened to Stewart, the league would have issued a statement within hours. They're asking why the WNBA seems unwatchable when players are getting assaulted with minimal consequences. And those aren't casual fans overreacting. Those are people who've watched this pattern repeat itself all season long. They've seen the inconsistency. They've seen who gets protected and who doesn't. So let's break down exactly what happened here and why it matters for the rest of the season. Because this isn't just about one dirty play in one preseason game. This is about whether the WNBA is serious about player safety or whether enforcement depends on your jersey and your market. First, the mechanics of the play itself. Stewart sets up outside the restricted arc, which would normally be fine for a screen, but watch her feet. She's not stationary. A legal screen requires the screener to be set, meaning both feet planted and body still before contact occurs. Stewart is moving forward as Sophie approaches. That's already an illegal screen by definition, but it goes beyond illegal to dangerous because of where the contact happens. Stewart doesn't just fail to set properly, she drives her elbow up and forward into Sophie's face. That's not incidental contact from a moving screen. That's targeted contact to the head and neck area. The rulebook is crystal clear on this. Any contact above the shoulders, especially when intentional, should be reviewed for a flagrant foul. The referee who called this as just an illegal screen either didn't see the elbow or chose not to escalate it. Given that the ref was in position and made the call, we have to assume they saw the contact, which means they made a judgment call that elbow-to-face contact during an illegal screen doesn't rise to the level of a flagrant. Compare that to how the league has handled other incidents. When Angel Reese made contact with Caitlin Clark's head while blocking a shot in August, the league reviewed it and assessed a flagrant foul after the game. That was a basketball play, a legitimate block attempt where incidental contact happened to be above the shoulders. The league still upgraded it to a flagrant because of where the contact occurred. What Stewart did was objectively worse. It wasn't a basketball play. It was an illegal screen where she drove her elbow into another player's face, and it got called as a simple violation, not even a common foul, just an illegal screen. The inconsistency is staggering, and it feeds into a larger narrative that Fever fans have been documenting all season. Their players get officiated differently, they take more hard fouls, they get fewer calls. And when opposing players commit dangerous plays against them, those plays get minimized or ignored entirely. Look at the pattern from this single preseason game. Caitlin Clark gets hacked repeatedly on drives with no whistle. Sophie Cunningham gets elbowed in the face, and it's just an illegal screen. Then a Liberty player flops on a clean screen from Sophie and actually draws a foul. 3 sequences, 3 examples of officiating that all went against the Fever. Now, one game doesn't prove bias, but this isn't one game. This is a pattern that's been documented across dozens of games. Fans have compiled footage, they've tracked foul differentials, they've noted which types of contact get called and which get ignored. And the data consistently shows that Fever players, particularly Clark and now apparently Cunningham, are officiated under a different standard than their opponents. The league has to address this, not with vague statements about supporting player safety, with actual accountability. Stewart should have been assessed a flagrant foul for that elbow. The league office should review the play and upgrade the call retroactively, just like they've done with other incidents this season. And if they determine it was flagrant, Stewart should face supplemental discipline. A fine at minimum, possibly a suspension for the first regular season game. Because here's what happens if the league does nothing. Players learn that they can get away with dangerous plays as long as they're stars in big markets. The physicality escalates, someone eventually gets seriously hurt, and the league faces a lawsuit from a player whose career was ended by a play that should have been penalized but wasn't. We've seen this movie before in other leagues. The NBA went through this in the 1980s and early 1990s, when physical play got out of control. It took several high-profile injuries before the league cracked down with flagrant foul rules and consistent enforcement. The WNBA has the benefit of learning from that history. They can establish clear standards now, in preseason, before someone gets hurt in a playoff game. Instead, we're seeing the same reactive approach. Wait for something terrible to happen, then issue statements about player safety while doing nothing to prevent the next incident. It's not good enough. Not when fans are literally doing the league's job by finding footage that exposes dangerous plays the broadcast somehow missed. And let's talk about that for a second. How does the official broadcast miss an elbow to the face? These games have multiple camera angles. They have producers whose job is to catch important moments. An illegal screen that stops play should trigger an immediate replay. Instead, this footage only surfaced because a fan in the stands was recording on their phone and posted it to social media. That raises uncomfortable questions about what else we're not seeing. How many other dangerous plays happen off camera or don't get replayed? How many times are players getting hit with elbows, knees, or other contact that should be reviewed but isn't? The fact that fans have to crowdsource footage to hold the league accountable is embarrassing for a professional sports organization. The WNBA just signed a new media rights deal worth $2.2 billion over 11 years. They're expanding to new markets. They're talking about growth and investment and building the league into a premier sports property. But you can't build a premier league when your officiating is inconsistent and your broadcast misses flagrant fouls that fans catch on cell phone video. This matters for the product on the court. Fans want to watch competitive basketball, not wrestling matches where the rules seem negotiable. When physical play crosses the line into dangerous play, officials have to make the call, every time, regardless of who committed the foul or what market they play in. So where does this leave us heading into the regular season? The Fever have established themselves as a team that won't be intimidated. They went into New York and dominated the defending champions in their own building. They've got Caitlin Clark playing at an elite level. They've added pieces like Sophie Cunningham who bring toughness and experience. They're going to be a problem for every team they play, but they're also going to be targeted. We've seen it all last season. We're seeing it continue in preseason. Opposing players know that being physical with Clark and her teammates gets rewarded more often than it gets penalized. Until the league changes that dynamic through consistent enforcement, the Fever are going to face this challenge every single night. The question is whether the WNBA will step up and protect all its players equally, or whether we're going to see more footage posted by fans showing plays that should have been called but weren't, because if it's the latter, the league has a serious problem. You can't claim to care about player safety while allowing stars to throw elbows at faces with no real consequences. Breanna Stewart is better than this play. The New York Liberty are better than needing dirty screens to compete. And the WNBA is supposed to be better than inconsistent officiating that undermines the integrity of the game. Time to prove it. Review the play, assess the appropriate penalty, and set a clear standard that this kind of contact won't be tolerated from anyone because the fans are watching. And as we've just seen, they've got their cameras ready to catch what the league misses.